Okay, we are learning about the multiplication property of equality. I know I've got this when I can use the multiplication property of equality to solve linear equations, use both the addition and multiplication properties of equality to solve linear equations, and write word phrases as algebraic expressions. So our key vocabulary of multiplication property of equality, that means that you can multiply the same thing by both sides of the equation and the equation stays equal. Now, another thing that we're going to be doing is consecutive integers. So they have consecutive integers, consecutive even integers, and consecutive odd integers. So consecutive means in a row, okay? So consecutive integers would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Consecutive even, 2, 4, 6, 8. Consecutive odd, 1, 3, 5. And so you can use those with algebraic expressions, and I'll show you how to do that as we solve problems. So the multiplication property of equality, like I was saying, if you multiply the same thing by both sides of the equation, it still stays equal. So now we're going to work out some. All right, so 1/7 x equals 5/9. So if you are isolating that x, you can multiply both sides of the equation by its reciprocal of 1/7. So times 7/1. This goes away. You would divide the equation by 1/7, but that's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal when you have a fraction. So x equals 35/9. I'm going to pause a little bit in between each slide so you can write it down or whatever. Okay, so the next one is 3/8 x equals 6. So again, if I divide both sides of the equation by 3/8, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So that cancels out and I get x equals, now I can, this is like 6/1, right? So I can simplify that before I multiply to make it easier. So 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 6 two times, so 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, the next one is 2/5 a equals 12. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by the reciprocal, which would be 5/2. So that cancels out. Again, 2 can go into 12 6 times. So a equals 6 times 5, which is 30. Sorry if you needed that back real quick. There you go. Okay, so here are some for you to do. So go ahead and pause and give yourself a second to do it. And the solutions are on the screen. Okay, number 2a, use both the multiplication and addition and multiplication properties of equality to solve. Okay, so we are going to use reverse order of operations to solve this. So what I like to say, I think is easier for everybody, is move the term that is farther away from the variable first. So I have 3z minus 1 equals 26. So I'm going to add the 1 to both sides of the equation. Again, this still should be a review from pre-algebra, I'm sorry. And since I'm multiplying the 3 and the z, I would divide both sides by 3, and I would get z equals 9. Okay, 12x plus 30 plus 8x minus 6 equals 10. Now I want you to combine the terms that you can on one side of the equation before you move to the other side. So I'm going to say 12x plus 8x is 20x, and then 30 minus 6 is a positive 24, and that equals 10. So I'm going to subtract both sides by 24. I would get 20x equals negative 14. So then I'm multiplying here, so I'm going to divide both sides by 20. And I would get x equals negative 14 over 20, but that should be simplified. Both of those things can be divided by 2. So I would actually get x equals -7/10 as my final answer. Okay, 2b. Solve 5x minus 2 equals 3x plus 8. So there's nothing we can combine on the same side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract my 3x. I'm moving the 3x because that will enable me to keep a positive variable on one side of the equation. So then I'm going to add 2 to both sides to isolate that x. 8 plus 2 is 10. Then I'm multiplying the 2 and the x, so I need to divide. And now I get x equals 5. All right, 2 times 3x plus 6 equals -3 plus 7. So I am going to distribute on the left side. So I get 2 times 3x is 6x, 2 times 6 is 12. And then I can say -3 plus 7 is a positive 4. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides of the equation. I get 6x equals -8. I'm multiplying, so I need to divide by the 6. -8/6 can be reduced by 2 to 4/3. So x equals -4/3. All right. All right, so go ahead and pause the video right here, and I'm gonna show you the answers in just a second. So pause it and work them out. Okay, and there are the answers on the right. If you do not do well on these, please let me know which ones that you're having a problem with, and I can go over it with you. Okay, 3a, if x is the first of 4 consecutive integers, express the sum of the 4 integers in terms of x and simplify if possible. Okay, so this is what we're talking with the consecutive integers. Okay, so what are some consecutive integers? So 1, 2, 3, 4. But we don't know what those integers are. Okay, so this is going to show you how to do it. So basically you say, all right, assume x equals 1. Then what would 2 equal? 2 would equal x plus 1. What would 3 equal? Well, 3 is 1 plus 2, so x plus 2. 4 would be x plus 3. And then it's saying express the sum of those. So you add all those up. So watch. Okay, so you have this. So if x is the first one, then x plus 1 would be the second number, x plus 2 would be the third, x plus 3 would be the fourth, like I said, and then you add all those up together. And so 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, and then plus 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, so 4 plus 6, and that is your answer. So 4x plus 6. All right, let's do this one together. Write each algebraic expression as described, simplify if possible. So if z represents the first of 2 consecutive even integers, express the sum of the 2 integers in terms of z. Okay, so 2 consecutive even integers. So just think any consecutive even integers, like 2 and 4. Okay, so if you say, obviously you don't know what these are, it's saying express them in terms of z. All right, so if I let 2 equal z, then 4 would be z plus 2, because 2 plus 2 is 4. Now it wants me to express their sum, so I'm writing the first number plus the second consecutive even integer, and if I add those, I would get 2z plus 2. All right, here's another one. Houses on one side of the street are all numbered using consecutive odd integers. If the first house on that side of the street is numbered x, write an expression in x for the sum of the first 5 houses on that side. All right, so consecutive odd integers. So you're thinking like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, because it says for the first 5, right? So those are 5 numbers. So if I let number 1 be x, then 3 would be x plus 2. 5 would be x plus 4. 7 would be x plus 6. And 9 would be x plus 8. So we're adding all of those up. So my first house, the second house, the third house, the fourth house, and the fifth house. So how many x's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5x plus, let's add up all the coefficients. I'm sorry, all the constants. So 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 6 is 12, plus 8 is 20. So that is your answer. All right, here's one for you to do. So go ahead and pause the video and work it out. One thing that I want to mention is this says the sum of the first and the third. Okay, so the even integers would be this. Hold on. The even integers would be x plus x, x plus 2, and x plus 4, but they only want the first and the third, so your answer would be 2x plus 4. Okay, so let's go back over our success criteria again. I know I've got this when I can use the multiplication property of equality to solve linear equations. Use both the addition and multiplication properties of equality to solve linear equations, and write word phrases as algebraic expressions. So do you really understand? Explain how to solve that and then actually solve it. So what would you do? You would multiply by the reciprocal of 8/5 and then solve it. So let's see what we would do. If we did that, we'd multiply by 5/8 to both sides, right? I can cancel out those 5s, and then I can simplify the 4/8, so I'd actually get x equals 1/2. Describe the first step in solving. So the first step in solving that equation, what would you do? You would combine like terms on the same side of the equation first. So that would be your first step. So 12y minus 12 equals 3 plus 7y would be your first step. Okay, I hope that you have understood this and it helped you do everything you need to.